But that's where the mental fortitude comes in, right? Can you maintain form and fail into partials on back squat? Can you maintain that? Can you fail into partials and keep it in your quads and just die at the bottom and be like, hey, that was complete failure? Different type of grit.
Welcome back, guys, to the Fireside Physique Podcast. I'm your host, Talon Westervelt, and today I got into it with IFBB Pro Kiran Shrestha. We talked all things how to build quality muscle going into the year 2026. This advice can apply to anybody from a beginner all the way to advanced range. There is value somewhere in this video for you, so make sure that you pull out your notepad. Before we hop into it, I am an online fitness coach and I'm looking to work with you. If you are looking to see what the next 6 months of your life could look like and raise the quality of both physique and mentality, then I want to hear about where you're at currently, where you're looking to go, and how my systems might work for you. All the information to book a strategy call is going to be down in the link in the bio. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Whenever I ask you advice about leveling up or going forward, it doesn't really seem like the mantra is work until your bones ache or your mental tires are about to blow up. I feel like, if anything, it's the opposite. And you always tell me to prioritize maybe not taking it so serious and maybe not work until your bones hurt. So I just wanted your 2 cents on that.
Well, as I can tell everybody, well, particularly and specifically young men, because we fell into that trap of, grind culture, and you want to get to the big things, right? You want to get to the nice car and like the cool parties, and you want to look good. But true maturation comes in the process of that. So trying to rush through that, you actually end up losing out on a big part of the journey. And we do live in a culture that, really prioritizes hustle, hustle, grind, grind, grind. But if you look at it from the macro, your 20s is for you to make mistakes. Like, you're probably going to reinvent yourself at least once or twice in your 20s. For example, you went to college for whatever, and then you're in college and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. It just keeps going as you get older. Let's say you get into the job outside of college and you're like, fuck this, I don't want this anymore, right? Finding where you want to go and where you want to land in life is the biggest point to life, right? And you don't have to rush through it to get to a specific thing. So, I tell you specifically, just when it comes to life and living, like, go for the big risky things. Go try that new thing, try that thing that's scary. Sample everything while you can, and then you'll figure out exactly what you want or who you want to be.
It is always so leveling to talk to you specifically, and I'm sure everybody uses you as a sort of a therapist whenever they come in for their massage therapy appointments. But I know I tend to, and whenever I talked to you first off about when I was hopping into prep, you said, yes, take it serious, do it with all you can, but at the same time, realize that you're hopping on a stage in your underwear for a trophy you could buy off of Amazon. And that sentence really just stuck with me in a really weird way, because I went into this and everybody, I think, told me something semi-similar, where it's all about having fun, doing what you can. And I felt the opposite, obviously out of an experience, because this is my first show. But I thought about how much I wanted to just kill it. Like, I want to go up there. I wanted to do exactly what I just said, grind until my bones hurt. I want to live in this extreme chapter where it's almost validated in a sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of push for that. Like, they want to glamorize the struggle, which, yes, if you're doing it for the right reasons, but like, if you're just being like, I work super hard, like, cool, but you got to be doing it for the right reasons. Don't do it for the wrong shit. You know what I mean? So it's all about showing up for yourself in the end, whether it's like the journey you want to take and learning through life, or it's as simple as like, I want to step on stage. What do you want to step on stage for? How do you want to step on it because you challenged yourself? You want to see how much self-discipline you can actually apply? Like, what's the end goal? So I try to tell people, don't get so focused on getting on stage. Like, focus on this, like, honing yourself. And I can say, as a pro bodybuilder, and been bodybuilding for almost 10 years now, it's the process. The slow, steady grind is what makes you a bodybuilder, not the trophies, not the posing routine. All those things are great, but Like if you're not doing it for the right reasons, it's like you can get buried real quick. And you see all these people, not all these people, but enough suicides in this sport to where it really comes down to just guys doing it for the wrong reasons, or they have all this pressure on them and they're not enjoying it anymore. It's become something else entirely.
I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get out of it. I just knew that I wanted to do it, and I was hoping that I would find the reason along the way. And now that I'm approaching the halfway point for myself,
Mm.
I'm now teetering, finding, or I guess I'm stepping into a body composition that I have never been into before. I've been lean, I've been around this point before, but I am
Mhm.
very close, if not already surpassed the point that I've of leanness than I've ever been, and I still have so far to go. And there was a couple weeks, the past, I would say 3 weeks or so, where I was thinking, man, I don't know. This is cool. I like this, but I don't know if this is necessarily for me. And then I don't know what happened. I think I just hit like a new low. I had a really good week, two
Mhm.
weeks in a row. And as I'm approaching this point, I believe it flipped, not necessarily to go up there and smoke whoever is on stage next to me, which I do want to do, but I think it's much more about that point where you said of more so what can I do? Because whenever you talked about your first prep experience, you said it was almost spiritual, and that was very attractive to me personally.
Yeah. Um, you learn a lot about yourself. Um, I would say being prior military, you're forced to do certain things and gain discipline because that's what is expected out of you. And like that's you got to do it. But this was something where it's like you're disciplined because you want to be, right? And if you can teach yourself to be that disciplined with your, regimented schedule, cardio, your food, all that, your posing, all that, then once you acquire that discipline, right, you can then apply that to other areas of your life, and you can make huge gains in either business, in your relationship. It's all about discipline and consistency. So imagine if you were that disciplined and consistent about anything, you could go pretty far in life. That was my takeaways from that experience as a whole, because I just started applying it to other areas of my life. And it's like, oh, success here. It was more successful with like, parenting or relationship or finances, whatever the case may be. If you can find yourself disciplined to not eat when you're starving, like you can do pretty well elsewhere.
I definitely have felt a shift in clarity,
Mm,
especially when it comes to doing any type of business work. Granted, I'm in a very free period of time of my life right now. I've just exited school since May, and I've been in school since forever. So
mm,
now I'm in this extended summer vacation that has not ended, and it's just still going on. So I have so much free time on my hands. So I'm lucky in that sense. But I have definitely noticed the transfer of the hard things become a little bit easier. And I remember writing about this as well, where I said, that's exactly what I wanted. If you could do these certain things, it makes everything else in comparison so much easier. Even the little things, such as, I don't know, taking out the trash or something like that. All these little things are, that's exactly what they are now. They're just little things.
yep. You build that work capacity to then be able to handle harder, tougher things.
I want to read you a quote and I want you to tell me what this means to you. Life is short, so love deep, try new things, be a good human, and drift into the grave with your wheels still smoking.
That sounds pretty accurate to me.
Yeah, it's because you said
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, that guy sounds smart, so what I'm saying.
I loved it. I
That's
was I was doing the deep dive of just seeing what you're about with things that you posted, and like I said a minute ago, authenticity. It was literally a gold. I have all these quotes from you written down next to me right now, and that was definitely one of my favorites. And I think it ties back to that mantra of take it serious, but don't take it too serious. The actual fundamentals of stuff of love deep, try new things, take a sample of everything, but at the same time, give it your all. Go into the grave with your wheels still smoking. I really, really enjoyed that.
yeah, that's right. You gotta live like you're only gonna do it once. You're not gonna get out of this thing alive. Just do it big, as big as possible. Make your dreams scary big.
Whenever I did this deep dive, I tried to pull together the timeline of exactly when you started bodybuilding and when you got into the gym. And you just said, what'd you say a second ago? Over 10 years or something like that? Because I have written down
Uh,
here that it's been over closing in on 17 years of training experience.
yes. So I started lifting, like serious lifting, 2010. So 15, right? And then I've been bodybuilding for the last 8. I started in 2017. And me just lifting what I normally like do, just my normal gym bro stuff. Like I was doing like a bro split. And I'm growing specific body parts. And so it kind of got to a point where it was like, you're bodybuilding. Why not just do the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And Classic Physique came out, I think maybe 1 or 2 years prior to 2017. It's like 2015. I might be wrong. Don't quote me. Um, and I saw that come out and I was like, ooh, I like that. I could do that. So then I was like, all right, let's gear towards that. Did my first show and the rest was history.
I wanted to talk about some of those specifically earlier influences in your training career, stuff like
Mm,
the Jim Stepanis 6-week shortcut to shred challenge or the Dr. Jake Wilson strength program,
yeah.
and how your views on some things have changed.
I would say the earlier fitness programs were a lot better than what you got now, because some of these guys really put a lot of time and effort and energy into like building out a program for people. Fitness wasn't as popular as it is right now, you know. Like some of the stuff they were giving away back then for like, inside the back of a bodybuilding.com magazine, like now people would charge you probably like $400 for. So it's a lot of it is still applicable. Like I will go do Jay Cutler's 8 Week to Mass from bodybuilding.com. I'll go do that right now. It was a great program, right? I love it, hands down. Some of the nuance gets lost in programming like that because everybody wants to train like Ronnie Coleman, but you're not Ronnie Coleman. Like he can do partials because he's targeting a very specific thing and a specific range of motion. I'm like, and you just look like an idiot curling like this, I'm like, you gotta understand the nuance. But to answer the questions specifically, a lot of it's still good. A lot of it's still golden. Mm, I think where they missed the mark sometimes is they didn't really harp on nutrition as much as they should have. But the training acumen, it's pretty solid. A lot less gimmicks back then. Now, and everybody trying to sell you something.
So you think it was better back then? I was expecting honestly the opposite answer. I thought you were going to say that we've advanced since then, or these programs were old. But you're in the sentiment of they were just as good, if not better. You would do them again right now, currently.
Yeah, I felt like it was a good marrying between academics and like bro lifting back in the day. Whereas now you got somebody with an exercise science degree picking apart like Keon Prodigy like form on a movement. And I'm like, that guy is a genetic freak and Mr. Olympia. He knows exactly what he's doing. And you're like, it's more effective if you do this. Like, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Right? You don't lift like that. You don't lift to that same intensity, as is evident by you being a third of my size. And you're talking about a guy lifting a specific way. I was like, obviously it's working. It's not about efficiency. Sometimes it's about control over the load more than anything else. So could there be a better movement? But you know what? He's discovered what movement works for him and how to progressively overload that. And then he looks like a freak. So like, set your mouse, lift the weight, and then come back. Right. But that's my 2 cents. That's a little bit of like old man philosophy, but back in my day, it was better.
I don't know. I feel as if I was guilty of that myself, especially coming out of my undergrad or something like that, thinking I knew more than I did. It sort of fell into imposter syndrome. So I started being quiet, but I don't think it was real imposter syndrome. I really just don't think I knew what the fuck I was doing. So I think it was just real. So I've developed since then, but picking apart or I guess being set in my ways as far as thinking goes, to think I've learned one thing and then thinking that applies to every single person and that's going to work that specific way, when in
Mhm.
reality the best way to develop as a coach is just to be very open-minded. And I definitely was not early in my career. I've switched now, but early in my career I definitely was not.
And it makes sense that it would be like that because on the academic side, it's like an equation: 2 + 2 = 4. You want this result, you do this thing. But once you introduce the human element, now some things don't apply anymore. Sometimes the variation is better. What may work for this person is actually worse for that person. Their acetabular joints looks like this. They have genetic predisposition to have like a cranky ass AC joint. So like pressing isn't going to be their movement. Whatever it is, it's like you gotta learn what you gotta learn, and then kind of like throw half of the textbook out, and then try to figure out how many different ways can you get the results, right? Achieve the same results with completely different methodology.
I definitely met this lesson through humility in in-person personal training at big box gyms such as EOS, and working
Mhm.
with you learn I poured all this money and time and effort learning all these textbooks and all this stuff in school. And then all of it, honestly, a majority of it did not come into play. It was not applicable to all these people that I started training. And it was very humbling because I found out that the challenge is and always will be people. It will not be a limitation of knowledge. It will not be whatever you can construct it to be. It is simply just people and learning how to work with people directly. And if you don't know how to work with people, you're just not going to make it very far at all.
Wrong words, very correct.
I got humbled in that sense as far as, and I was guilty. I was one of the early science-based people where I took Paul, if you know who Paul Carter is, thought it was just religion, gold, all these. And I'm like, this works for everybody. And if you do anything above 10 reps, you're stupid.
And you learned.
And then I learned through mostly experimentation of myself, trying things on myself before I tried to implement them in other people's programs or anything, just trying other mediums of training or methodologies and saying, wow, this works. And I wrote this off for so long, and I could have it could have bled into what I program for other people, but I let my limited thinking stop me.
Well, you learn. That's part of the journey. You gotta fuck up.
So far to go. As far as a career, you just learn new stuff all the time, and as soon as you just stop opening up your mind to the expansion of learning or thinking that everything you know could be wrong and there could be a whole
Mhm.
nother chapter of answers on the other side, you're done. Like you're stopping in your tracks right there until you open up your mind again.
Yes, correct. Well said. Serious evolution.
Thank you. I still so far to go. So far to go.
That's the fun part.
It is the fun part. It's why I love it. Honestly, at the top of your page right now, you went through an interview, and in the very first part of the interview, you said that bodybuilding saved your life, and I would love to hear about that a little bit.
Let's see. I started with 2017. So like that period of like 2010 to 2017, it was like post-military. And so trying to transition from, active duty to civilian, understandably is difficult. There's a lot of structure in the military. And then when you get out, it's just sort of like do whatever, whatever, eh, which doesn't really work for my brain because, being an ADD person, I'm just like, I need structure. Otherwise, I will just sit in the corner and do nothing all day. So bodybuilding gave me structure, which helped me stay sane, right? And cope with everything that I needed to cope with at that time. So having a time to be up, time to eat, something to look forward to, a training time, move the body, and like make small improvements and accomplishments. Your PR in here, you get an extra 2 reps here, you try a new exercise. But those little new things, you know, kept me sane, for lack of a better term. And I was able to just enjoy life with a nice structure around it that would also help me grow as a person as I applied those things elsewhere. So without those things, I don't know where I would be. Pretty listless, pretty lost. So I do contribute bodybuilding to a large chunk of like saving my life. because it gave me the structure I needed.
I think there's a lot of people who would agree with that same sentiment where it saved their life. Why do you think that some people hate it so much where exercise, they will go an entire lifetime and exercise will never ever be part of it because it is this horrible, awful thing, while some people, such as yourself, such as myself, can't live without it? You need this balance, this thing to do on a weekly basis just to keep sanity. Why do you think it agrees with some people and doesn't agree with other people?
Good question. I think, I mean, with all things, you can go back to somebody's childhood and it's going to tell you a lot about, their priorities and how they may view physical activity or exercise. For example, if you had a dad or a parent that was always about it, then maybe that kind of rubs you the wrong way. Maybe you felt like your dad or mom picked that over you, right? Or you had a dad that punished you by doing exercise. So now as you're adult, you're just like, fuck that. You know what I mean? But I would say as a whole, as a socioeconomic whole, right, where everything's really easy right now. You don't really have to do a whole lot. And everything's created around ease and comfort. So for a lot of people, that discomfort of trying to transform your body is just unwelcome. But to me, I'm like, you only feel that way because you haven't seen what your body can do. You just feel like you're trapped with what you got. But I'm like, if you work hard, you can change how you look, can't change ugly, but like you can change how your body looks and how healthy you are. And so if you've never gone that far and like really seen what your body can do, you don't have an appreciation for it.
I feel like you kind of can change ugly in a sense with this whole deal because some
I
people are
mean, I'm
overweight
I'm with you. I'm with you.
and then they lose all this weight and then you see them their before and after. They look like
Hmm.
two completely different people, not only in the way they actually physically look, but the way they carry themselves, I think makes the hugest difference. They not
Yes.
only look better, but they wear it better.
Hmm. I agree.
I wish everybody, I guess if I knew the secret on how to get everybody to do it, I'd be a lot richer than I am currently. But how to just get everybody to just try it. Just give me 60 days. Just give me 60 days of
Mm.
your life. Just give me a 60-day chunk out of your entire life. And I bet I could change your perspective. Or at the very least,
I
change how easy it is for you to
mhm.
digest.
I agree. So I wish more people were willing and open to that idea, but I mean, it like I said, it goes so much deeper than just physically working out. There's usually a reason, a flow chart of some kind as to why they don't like it. And it was like until you address that core why they don't like it, you could give them a year free training and they'll be like, eh.
That core question. It's so hard. I hate, not hate, this is part of the job, but having to dig so far to like to tap into somebody's core like
Uh-huh.
that to really hit them on a different level that makes them think everything different. Because whenever you bring up training or the idea of doing all these things or bringing the service to them, the barriers are common across the board. Anybody who says no to the service, it's almost always a factor of time or money. So if you, I guess if you can remove those in a way where you, I like you just said, I'll give you free training and you just got to give me some of your time, and then still some people just will not do it, even if it costs. I think in the grand scheme of things, coaching is actually not cheap per se, but in comparison to things that people spend money on, subscriptions, going out, all these things. If
Mhm.
if, if I was to sit there and follow you around with the camera and record every single thing that you spent money on, and then tally it up against per se the price of your services or the price of anybody's services, I bet it's far less.
Agreed. But it's about changing your priorities. If you feel like you need a VIP table to feel good about yourself, like you'll prioritize that, right? But if you go, oh my goodness, like my trainer keeps me up to date, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I look good, it's positively impacting my relationship with my kids and my significant other, and I'm impacting those around me, then it's an easy trade off. Getting people to see that is the hard part.
Yeah, and the information is so abundant now as well. It's a, we're
Mm,
in the age of you give all this information away to them. I guess it's more of a personal thing. I wish I knew as a coach how to, or at least I'm learning to bridge that gap,
yeah.
build that understanding. straight to the core. Shoot the surface level excuses in the face and just connect straight to what makes them do what they do.
If it was that easy.
I think everybody's working on it. And the
Yeah,
people who
we
make a
all
lot of
are.
money do it better than I do.
Oh.
But for the people who do want to make a change and do want to do these things, I see no better person to map out sort of a physique strategy than an IFBB Pro. So I want to list out a few questions, starting
Sure.
off with, what do you believe is the blueprint to bringing up a stubborn muscle group? Somebody who says they have a muscle group and it just absolutely will not grow, for instance, calves. What would you do?
Frequency. It's all about frequency. In bodybuilding, like, and this is not across the board by any means, but typically speaking, if you're trying to grow a body part, you're probably hitting it 2 to 3 times a week. Like, you take wellness athletes for an example, they're hitting glutes 3 to 4 times, or legs 3 to 4 times a week. Right? You know, you're a men's physique guy, you're trying to grow your back, you're probably doing back 2 to 3 times a week because frequency, right? As always, you have to adjust your frequency with your intensity. So the less frequent you hit it, you can hit it harder. And then like, the more frequent you hit it, the less intense you do. And finding that sweet spot is where you'll be able to make those gains. You just have to be real with yourself, right? If you're trying to deadlift 800 pounds 3 times a week, like, you're going to be fucked, right? So you got to, with the volume and the intensity. And
I
I
think
think
that
that's really the key to it.
I think that sweet spot changes for everybody too. I was watching a
It
podcast,
does.
the Revive Stronger podcast, and they were talking about. He was talking to Dr. Scott Stevenson when
Dr. Scott, good dude.
yeah, amazing dude. I mean, talk about free knowledge, so much. A
I trained
lifetime's
with him
worth.
a couple of times. He's a good dude.
What? That's awesome. That's a celebrity in my eyes. There's so many in Tampa. I've all these people that I've always idolized all my life. I've seen multiple
Tampa's
of them here
great.
since I moved here, and I'm like, oh my god, they're a real person. They're not just on social media.
Correct.
But he talked about the differences between what works for certain people and that frequency to intensity trade-off. And they were comparing JP to Nick Walker and how Nick Walker takes about like that more higher frequency, or only do one set maybe for a thing, but he nails that one set and then he does that multiple times either throughout that day or throughout that week. Like, it's a super evolving. So just finding what works for you. So much experimentation.
Yeah. That's the joy of it, right? Finding what works for your body specifically is like a unique combo. And like, once you figure that out, you streamline how to build muscle and change your body. But learning is where it's important.
What do you think the timeline on that is to figure out what really works for you?
It depends on how hard you're willing to work and how humble you're going to be, right? Because you're going to encounter some movements or some foods or whatever that make you go, this doesn't make me feel good, right? So if you're willing to accept that, like, yeah, you could bench press 315, cool, but form is sloppy, bouncing off the chest. It's a half rep, whatever. Your actual working ways you want to grow your chest is probably more like 215. Like, if you're willing to humble yourself and be like, I'm going to do sets of 12 for 4 sets on bench, 215, right? If you're attached your ego to the number on the bar, right? Now you just bench 315 for 2 reps. Like, okay, cool. Your chest isn't big. Like, do you want to be big or do you want to be strong? Like, you got to do what you are intending to do. And sometimes it's going to look like you're taking the 15s for a ride. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is. So it depends on how humble you are and how hard you're willing to work. And how consistent you're going to be.
God, the ego and pride are the biggest barriers to, I think, that
Mhm.
timeline. I think that's a really good point to make. I've stepping a little over 10 years now in my own timeline of figuring out what works for me and whatnot. And I think I would have figured it out a lot sooner if I would have set aside my mostly ego when it came to programming for myself. Like, I believed I could do it all myself for so many years, and I thought I was making good progress. And then I compared it to progress whenever I got a coach just over the past year, and I smoked the prior progress by a
No, yeah,
mile. just because I want to set the ego aside and send my training form to another person and say, critique this, tell me what I'm doing wrong. And it's so humbling to see that maybe you're not as wise as you think you are in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did it right. I would say it took me really like 5 to 7 years to kind of like myself and be like, oh, okay, let's do this shit smart. So if you go far enough back, like I'm doing stupid shit. I'm doing I'm doing walking lunges with like 225. I'm sled pushing like 600 plus like two men's physique competitors. Like I'm just doing stupid strong shit, which cool, but like I wanted big quads. Great. Where's the volume? You're just doing strength stuff. I can squat 500. Yay. I'm like, you want big quads? It's like, you got to do the volume. You got to do the reps. It wasn't there. So I've been there. I get it.
It was entertaining to go back and look at the power building phase that you did whenever you were like that. When I wrote down the number earlier and you corrected me about the pulling off the floor, there was a 465 attempt, but it didn't go all the way up, and you look pissed in the video.
The important things in life, right? How much can you lift?
You looked pissed. It was funny though.
Yeah, well, you went deep diving there, my friend. Yeah, I just forgot about that.
There's gold mines of information in there. If you go back and see it, I loved it. It was fun. It was fun to see the mohawk air, and you had the socks all the way up to your knees, and you're pulling 655 off the floor. I was like, that's badass.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure, but I got the injury to fucking prove it wasn't the best motion to be doing. Yeah, I got imbalances. It's a whole fucking mess over here. So, like at this point in my bodybuilding career, I have to spend time unfucking myself if I want to progress anymore. Whereas when I was younger, it was just like more, do more. And it's like, yeah, more wasn't the answer, bro. It's like do it better, not more weight. You learn.
Yeah, I mean, that is the best teacher. Whether just doing it essentially. That phase you probably went through, you don't look at it as, even though you may have gotten injured or whatever it might be, you don't look at it be like, I shouldn't have done that at all. No, that was crucial. I needed to do that step. I needed to fuck it up in order to move on to that next chapter of where you're at now, which is a much higher status of training intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I would say there was also an element of like the mental health aspect at the time was like lifting heavy is what I needed. So, I'll give real estate and license to that. But looking back as far as like training efficiency, it's like, what are you doing, bro? So, and love for each side.
I'm learning almost backwards now because I have a coach and I send my stuff to him on my training form, and he's been telling me recently, he said, you look like you're slowing down. You're not actually pulling against the concentric part of the exercise. You're controlling it almost too much. And the past couple weeks, I've been putting a focus on controlling the Eastern. I don't want it to look bad, but putting a little bit more explosion, a little bit more power into that concentric force of it, and all my numbers have shot up astronomically. Not a 5-pound, 10-pound jump. I've been moving a 25 plate. It's been crazy how
Nice.
I feel like I'm learning it backwards in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I would say because you're coming from the academic portion, you're looking at more strict form, whereas a lot of people are like bro lifting and then they have to learn the academic part. So, I mean, I would honestly rather start where you're at because I would have lit. You know what I mean? But it's a valid point. As you know, there's like, different fast twitch, slow twitch muscle fibers, and knowing which ones is which always helped me be like, okay, like hamstrings, fast twitch, like explosion, gotta rip it, right? And then the ones that are slow twitch, you know what I mean? Focus on that. And then, of course, some people, they can look at a weight and put on 15 pounds of muscle. So, like, again, it's just depends on who you are.
Yeah, not me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we got to work.
What does all this training intelligence put together? What does a pro level set look like to you? Is there a line in the sand of maybe where I was at where you control it too much, or that Ronnie Coleman style of just move the damn weight no matter the cost?
I would say there's a degree of individual variance that goes into that, right? But I want to say pro level set is somebody who has familiarized themselves with true failure and then knowing when to fail and how to fail. As an example, let's take dumbbell curls, right? You got nice tight form, shoulders back, curling, right? Boom, you're hitting it. Boom, you're hitting it, controlling the eccentric. And then once you get tired, then you can like throw a little body English into it, right? And do some more. And then once that's done, like fail into partials, just control, hold it the whole time under tension. And then once you can't move past that, true failure. So that's kind of like what pro looks like. Just being able to maintain form and consistency under exhaustion and that pressure.
Do you think it changes per muscle group?
100%. Oh my God, yeah. Arms are great, right? Try doing that shit with fucking quads. It's gonna die, right? But that's where the mental fortitude comes in, right? Can you maintain form and fail into partials on back squat, right? Obviously, please have a spotter, but can you maintain that? Can you fail into partials and keep it in your quads and just die at the bottom and be like, hey, that was complete failure? Different type of grit on that.
It definitely, it's almost impossible to reach that certain threshold you're talking about without a spotter next to you. Because I know whenever I'm about to do a hack squat or a really heavy set of any type of leg movements, and to myself, I say, should I get a spotter? I'm like, no, I don't need a spotter. That's exactly when I know that I need to go get a spotter. For one, because I want it to look nice. And two, I know I'm probably about to bitch out at the end of that set if I don't have somebody right next to me. I know I'm about to emotionally negotiate with myself and probably stop fewer reps than I actually have. Whereas if I had that somebody right next to me, whoever it might be, I'm actually going to take it there, which is needed for me because my legs are stubborn.
Yeah. And, you know, pro bodybuilders too, you know, we're all about squeezing every rep out, you know, so anytime like I need a spot or I'm training with a, you know, pro level bodybuilder or just like really serious bodybuilder, it doesn't have to be pro, right? You know, I'll be like, I'm going for 10 and I'll do my 10. And they're like, you got like 6 more, dude. You're like, bet. I mean, 6 more. And then they're like, all right, so you can do with the more. I'll spot you. You're like, okay. And then you're like getting 4 more. And then you ended up with like what you thought you were doing for sets of 10. It's like, yeah, you actually did it for like 16 and a half. So it's like, here's your cue that you got to go up.
Yeah, it's always humbling. I talked to Louise about this last week about training with somebody who's bigger than you and how it is the quickest way to find
That's my
evolution
favorite.
in your training.
Mm-hmm.
But on the path of building this physique strategy to the pro level, what is a nutrition habit you wish you adopted earlier in your career?
Ooh, the biggest thing, fucking breakfast. You go far enough back, it's just like I just started my day like either I used to work at night, so I would just skip breakfast entirely and just be like, and lunch. You know, yeah, like breakfast allows so much room for overall nutrients that you need to grow that a lot of people sell short. You know, they want to do their coffee and like a bagel and out the door or whatever it is. But I'm like, if you make breakfast as hefty as meal 2, 3, 4, or whatever, I'm like, you'll get those calories in for sure.
This concept, it took me forever to wrap my head around because breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. I couldn't conceptualize why people would want to skip breakfast. And then I
Me neither,
realized
man. I don't get it either.
just how common it is, especially for people in gym pop or lifestyle clients that I have who skip, they won't eat breakfast. They
Yeah,
refuse. They tell me they can't get 3-4 meals in per day, but then I look at their logs and they don't have breakfast.
it's wild to me. Like, eat some damn food in the morning. You'll
Yeah.
feel better. You'll have more energy. Your brain runs on glucose, so eat something, right? And you won't be as reliant as coffee, and you won't be crashing out in the afternoon.
It's also a cheat code to hit, like you said, macros and micronutrients. People who really struggle to hit their macros or sit in vegetables somewhere throughout their
Mm,
day, I tell them to just get it out of the way first thing in the day. If you refuse to do this, okay, maybe you don't have time to eat an entire full breakfast, but I guarantee you have time to at the very least make a loaded down shake with some greens encapsulated in it, or
Yeah,
just something. Get a bulk of whatever you got to do for the day and get it out of the way as fast as possible.
exactly. I mean, it seems so simple on this end of it, but some people really do struggle with that.
Yeah, everybody's trying to get the door really quick too, and overstimulated. They want to sleep. They stay up too late and they don't get enough sleep, and then they
Well,
get up 20
well,
minutes
there
before
goes
they have to
that
leave.
discipline and consistency part, right?
Yeah, lack of experience as well. They just don't know how it feels to be on the other side of it.
True. True.
Is there any, not necessarily with nutrition, but as a whole, just any common dogma in the nutrition space that is really common that you heavily disagree with? You just don't agree with it.
Hmm, that I don't agree with. There's so many individual cases. You can't truly disagree with any one thing because it's going to work for somebody. Dogma, okay, dogma. Don't eat carbs after 6 thing. Like, the fuck is that, right? I'm like, it has to make sense, right? If you're working out first thing in the morning, baby girl, you better be eating tons of carbs before you go to bed because that's the glycogen you're going to be burning in the morning, right? But also, it's like if you build muscular physique, like it requires nutrients and you have to feed it, right? That muscle protein synthesis curve, like if you're trying to build muscle, you got to keep that thing going, right? And so you got to eat your meals. Your body's not going to go, "Ooh, bedtime. Let me just turn this to fat." Like it doesn't work that way. So, put yourself in a calorie deficit or surplus, eat on a regular intervals, eat your meals, right? After 6, like it doesn't do what it should, right? But at the same note, I'm gonna give credit to the person who said it. The idea of no carbs after 6, I think, was rooted in the idea of maybe cut that dessert and getting people to like stay away from that. And that's what making people fat. But somehow that trickled on down into like, if I eat bread at 7 p.m., I'm gonna turn fat. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, or just thinking rice is evil or potatoes
yeah.
are the source of why they're not at where they want to be physique
No,
wise.
it's those 2 glasses of wine every day.
Yes, yes. Every time someone brings me a new, I love to be an open book. I love it. People asking me questions and helping out wherever I can because I realize the fitness world is very overwhelming. There is a cesspool of misinformation out there. So if I can be that person that guides them through that and helps them however I can, I find a lot of pride in that.
Mhm.
And I try to give every strategy and approach the benefit of the doubt, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. I like you said, it works for someone somewhere along the bell curve, more than likely. But the idea of intermittent fasting, I don't know why I get asked about intermittent fasting so much. That one caught fire. I feel like more than keto.
Yeah, every few years you get these trends that come through, and then it's like keto, carnivore, intermittent fasting. And again, these things work for certain people. It's not an across the board thing. I have unfortunately seen more people damaged by intermittent fasting than it's helped, right? You're throwing off your metabolism, it's your sleep schedule's all fucked up, because you're wherever you're fasting, you're not getting enough nutrients to get into REM sleep, shit like that. So, it's about like if you're gonna do it correctly. Don't do it because your best friend's sister's boss's cousin did it one time and he lost 15 pounds. Like that's not a reason to do that.
Yeah, I see the applicability of it whenever you start intermittent fasting and it prevents you from having those 2 glasses of wine you just talked about after 6 o'clock. That's when I see, okay, that's applicable. That helps. If it
Mhm.
keeps you out of the pantry or it keeps you away from that thing of ice cream or from those 2 glasses of wine, that's when I can see the applicability to it and it helps out. But if you're using intermittent fasting to just move those 2 glasses of wine and that dessert to just earlier in your day and you're using that to skip an actual whole food nutritious meal after 6 o'clock because you think rice is evil or bread is evil and that's the source of where you're getting fat, then backwards. You got it backwards right now. You're messing it all up.
Hmm. Hmm. And there's some people who do intermittent fasting, but when they're eating. They're just eating like McDonald's and Wendy's and everything else. And I'm just like, so we're just condensing all our shit food eating into here. It's not going to solve your problem, right?
I wish I could just help everybody in a way. I wish I could just drill. I wish I could just take a day to look at all the misinformation and stuff like that and say, just give you the whole blueprint, give you the whole life blueprint. But I guess that's what this podcast is doing in a way, but in smaller, more bite-sized information.
Yeah, digestible bites, best.
That's the only way you can really do, especially with lifestyle people. It's not about,
Hmm.
it was such a lesson I learned. Honestly, not too long ago, I thought that I could just come in. Okay, you hired me. Here's a nutrition plan. Here's the workout plan. Here's this. Here's that. And then they don't do it. I'm like, you don't have discipline. You're not, what in the world? But I've learned a way more. It's about just meeting people where they're at and making it very much so bite size. Not so much worrying about the entire program as a whole, but maybe just taking little pieces of the program a little bit at a time and giving it to them little bits at a time and be like, look at this, we're building the discipline. This is proof. Here it is. You did it. Like you're not doing it. It's done. You did it.
It's a great
And just
approach. Great
adding
approach.
it back in a little bit at a time until months, maybe a year goes by, and before you know it, then they have the whole program encapsulated. They don't even know how they did it, but all of a sudden they don't believe bread is evil anymore, and they know how to squeeze in regular meals, and they know how to do this and this and this and this and this, and they know how to make it work for themselves. I think that's the most important part.
Well, you got the right idea, but you can't help everybody.
Or I'd be like I said earlier, richer than I am. On the part of the physique strategy, if you had all your muscles stripped away from you tomorrow and had to start over with just knowledge that you've acquired over the years, what's the next year's strategy look like for you?
Uh, I would. That's a great question. That would be a lot of fun. Strategy would be a lot of compound lifts just to grow everything at once, right? And then once I got to a certain point, then I would start to break down to like more of a bro split and change things up. I would keep, if I'm starting from scratch, I would keep in some of more the athletic movements. I think, being able to, I jump, skip, sprint, those things, there's a lot more of life applicability to those things than there is to just being able to pick up 675 pounds. So I would never want to go too far away and like lose my athleticism because, as you get older, like the concept of like, I'm gonna go sprint right now, I'm fucking tear something. But is that a skill that you would foreseeably actually use in real life? Yes. Now, is picking up 675 pounds like an actual skill that you'll probably use? Hell no. Unless you're trying to save like a kitten underneath the car, maybe. But outside of that, keep in functional movements, do compound to grow as much as you can. And once you hit your target number, weight wise, I'm thinking male here, not female. But let's say you start at 150 and you're like, I got to get to 180. You get to 180, and then you're like, okay, from here I'm going to go have a back day, have a chest day, and da. That's how I do it.
So you jump straight to what you would do training wise. What would you do with the next year strategy and the other topics as well, such as nutrition, getting a coach, all these things? Like, would you change anything about it?
I think I would give myself a short-term goal, like a 2-3 year goal of this is my ego. This is my toxic ego.
Let it out.
I could do it myself for a little while. If I was going to do it as smart as possible, I would get a coach right off the bat and be like, you build me, I follow the program, and we'll go from there. And I'll just allow that person to structure it out. And then all I have to worry about is just effort and consistency, but mostly just effort. So yeah, the smart me would say, get a coach, go from there from day one. The ego is like, well, I can do it myself for like 2-3 years, right? Well, maybe.
I always wonder how much different it would be if people took that approach from the get-go, because it takes the chapters of doing it by yourself to realize that you can't necessarily do it, but you can do it by yourself, but it's you're how much you're getting out of it is just
Yeah.
not as much as it would be if you did have a coach. And obviously, I'm biased in the form that I am a coach, and I also have a coach, so I know how it looks to a lot of people. But if the approach to people who are brand new to this, who have never done it or have tried to do stuff in the past and they're trying again for the new year or whatever it might be? Maybe do something different. Maybe don't go do intermittent fasting or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
Maybe get somebody to do it the intelligent way. Take it from an IFBB pro who just said the intelligent way is just having
do it
somebody
intelligent
map
way.
it all out for you.
Yeah, I mean that's the easiest way to do it. I will say one thing though. It's if you are brand new to like lifting and you're just starting, I do think there is a level of like maybe take some time to mature in the gym on your own to kind of figure out like where you feel good in the gym, you know, whether that's just as simple as like what movements feel good on your body or like, learn what you need to learn. Cause like there's certain things that where you want to gain experience on your own in something new before you start receiving instruction. Otherwise, you do run the risk of like you get a trainer and you're like, I put my gloves on. Like, what's overhand? Like, how do I do that? And it's like, all right, well, you're so new that it's like you haven't taken the time to like really learn anything on your own. So finding that sweet spot between learning new things a little bit on your own and then seeking out help to get to the next level and getting the coach right off the bat to like learn shit. So I guess it just sort of depends on your perspective.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
the autonomy chapter.
Mm. I think it's crucial. Just don't get stuck there.
I want to hit you with a couple top fives. I just want to hear your top fives.
I got
Top
you.
fives. If you could only do top 5 movements for the rest of time, what would they be?
Dumbbell bench, walking and lunges, pull-ups. I got to do something for the hamstrings. I don't know. Like probably seated hamstring curl. I would say RDL.
I was hoping you'd fit that one in there. Some type of hinge
Yeah.
pattern. When you said
Yeah.
hamstrings, I was like, man, he's not going to throw in the RDL.
Yeah, you got to have a hinge that's translatable to life. You don't want to be 80 like, huh?
Yeah, people are always surprised whenever I say the glutes are your biggest muscle you have, and so many people have underdeveloped glutes, and it leads to a super downstream effect of so many problems in other muscles if you have really weak glutes. So many problems.
Agreed.
Next top 5. Top
Okay.
5 mistakes you've made in your career.
Ooh, in my career. Okay. Number one, not being extroverted enough. You want to run your own business and you want to be facey. Go fucking talk to people. You gotta go speak up. You gotta, make yourself known. If you are running your own business, you are the face. You facey shit, right? Learn be financially literate. Do not be illiterate. Don't go out there and be like, I got this loan. I guess I know what I'm gonna do. No, plan it out. Have a business plan. This top 5 mistakes. Not having a mentor when it comes to your
Mm.
business. You'll learn a lot more by being underneath somebody or at least being able to shoot ideas off of somebody than if you are out there just trying to trial and error yourself. So like do yourself a favor, get a mentor, get some type of oversight, and that'll help progress you no matter what your business or goal is. Mhm. Keep your circle like-minded. So you got entrepreneurs, other people on their hustle and the grind. Have those people around you, all of you will be successful. If it's just you out here and like 3 of your friends are getting fucked up all the time every weekend, and the other one's always in baby mama drama, and the one guy's like, yeah, I'm down to go fishing, like that's where your attention and energy is going to go. So like have people around you that's going to support you. Not having that is like that'll fuck you up real quick. Right. And then last one, top 5 mistakes. Being too stuck on the grind and hustle that you forget to live.
Mm.
Good. If your life becomes your job, then what are you working for?
Yeah. Everybody that all my family, everybody I know is from South Carolina, and they always ask me whenever, because I'm here in Tampa, obviously, do you plan to move away from Tampa? Do you like Tampa? I think Tampa is, and this is in no disrespect to anybody I know or friends that I have currently, but Tampa has been filled to the brim with so many those like-minded people you were just talking about. There's
Mhm.
so many, I'm surrounded by way more than 5 coaches that I would like to be like. I see these people that I'm all the time that I see these people, and it's very inspiring to be around. So
Yeah.
I would say that the opposite is definitely true as well. If I was just surrounded by people who have no like I didn't have any coaching friends wherever I came from, and now here all I have is bodybuilding coaching people, friends who are, if anything, doing it at a much higher level than I am, and it's
Mm.
humility, keeping me right where I'm at, keep me stable, keep me humble, and also very inspiring to see them doing what I want to do. To always just keep that mantra in front of me that it's possible. What I want to do is there's blueprint. People are doing it right now in front of me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And then finally, top 5 shifts that you made to become an IFBB Pro. What separated
Mm.
you from those competitions leading up to you becoming a pro and not placing where you wanted to or whatever it might have been? What shifts did you make that made the difference that finally gave you that pro card?
Number one, like willing to work harder. Number two, humility. Be okay with being a student again. Yeah, like you look great. Like, yeah, you win a show, right? Great. You win a show. You win overall. Awesome. Now you're national level. That same approach that you had before probably isn't going to work over here. But there's somebody out there, maybe in your gym, right? Or going back to a mentor, they'll be like, hey, like we need to work harder. We need to try this new method. And being able to go, okay, let me go try that is a really big one as opposed to getting stuck in your same set pattern. What else besides that? What shifts? Shifts. I think shifting into bodybuilding being a little bit more of like a lifestyle than just like a thing you do helps cultivate that consistency, right? And like once you really build that consistency, then it can be like bodybuilding something you do, but there's still things that you can make better on that amateur journey, whether it's like getting more sleep or prioritizing sleep or prioritizing your training. Like sometimes you got to get like a little obsessed with it just to get your habits in order, right? Just don't get lost in it is the big thing. um what other shifts?
Maybe I should have given you like a top 3. I know maybe 5 shifts was a lot. I was like, you were already probably doing stuff really well at the level you were at.
Well, you heard, but like my journey is a little bit different because I spent, time building myself and learning trial and error, as opposed to like I work out sort of, and I'm like, I want to compete, and then found a coach. Like I pushed myself as far as I could, and then I was like, I feel like I've done everything I know how to, and I now realize I don't know anything else past this. So somebody help me. So yeah, a little bit of individual variance on this end where that's concerned. Um, I mean, those are the biggest shifts I had. I would say that my circle was full of a lot of competitors, so that made it a lot easier to kind of stay in that mindset in that space. Ooh, here's a good one. Finding a gym that's conducive for your goals.
Mm.
That was a big shift because you can work out at Crunch or you're in big box gym where everybody's like in there doing the thing and they're like, yeah, I lift whatever. I'm like, that's great. But go to a gym where it's full of serious people and it's like the energy is different. And it's again a lot like your circle, right? If you're in a gym full of serious people, they're busting their ass, you're going to work harder, right? And then also their knowledge will trickle down because they'll be like, hey, great set, or you look good. Have you tried this? Or do you need a spot? And you'll just learn more just being in that environment. So conducive environment.
That was one of the things I loved about Alpha Omega is essentially anytime I stepped in Alpha Omega Fitness, I was the smallest person in that damn gym. I'd be working around you, Louise, Connor was in there, Andre's in there, all these every time. And I'm like, okay, got back to work.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest in the room, smallest fish in the pond.
Yeah. And that's actually my favorite too, is to be, I want to be the small guy in the gym. That's going to make me work harder. Like,
Not many gyms are going to step into where you're the smallest guy in there, Kieran.
well, hey, in Tampa, it's nice here. I'm
Yeah.
I'm one of, not the biggest. I'm like, I like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah. I mean, for anybody who wants to go see my old training partner, his name is Joel Thomas, IFBB Pro Bodybuilder. His calves are the size of my head. I'm not joking. His calves are the size of my head. I'm like, that guy. Like, that's who I used to train with. I'm just like, that guy. Right. So
Sometimes I think I need a training partner again. I started my training career was I went with my best friend every single day for multiple years, and now I only ever pretty much train by myself. Rarely do I get to train with somebody with such as Louise. I've never gotten to train with you or whoever. So maybe I need to implement that a little bit more.
it's definitely good, even if it's just for like a session or something. I love to do drop-in sessions with like another pro on like a body part that they're really good at, and it's a body part that I'm struggling with. So like I'm in there, I'm gonna do their program, and I'm probably gonna die, right? But it's nice to have that accountability and extra push on something where you may not be as good.
Yeah, heard. I know I'm running over my time right now, so I'll bring it together with a couple conclusive
You're good,
questions.
man. You're good.
What's next? Do you have any big goals? Do you have any? I've noticed that there's been a huge. It almost seems like you're living for Kieran now. You're stepping on these raves. You're switching to a style of life where you're really focused on that enjoyment factor of it. It's not necessarily all grind, all hustle all the time. It's more about being present, being here.
Yeah, it's all things about balance. And I have found, like, I've been on a healing journey this year to like reclaim who I am and heal from all my shit from the past and PTSD and all these wonderful things that happen to you. And stepping into a new era where it's like it's just healthy, clear mindset and put all things in perspective and balance. So yeah, this year, upcoming year, right, is going to be the year of just bulking, right? I I gotta get in the 250s if I'm gonna compete again. So we gotta we gotta fucking work. So next year, 2026 is gonna be about living, enjoying life, going to music festivals. It's gonna be a good time, but also train, be consistent, and grow the business. I'm just gonna put all of my energy into just those three things. Have fun, work hard, play hard, and then 2027 step back out, compete. Gonna make that my final year because I love bodybuilding. I always bodybuild, but competing, I think my time is. I want to spend more of my time helping others at this juncture rather than focusing on myself and competing. So 2027 will be my last year. We're gonna go for that Masters Olympia qualification, and then I will. I'll be real happy with what I was able to accomplish with 10 years, good tenure into something I really enjoyed. And I'll always be in the space because I work on bodybuilders and I'm in Tampa. But yeah, I'm just ready for a new chapter in life. But before we do that, we're gonna go 150% in, gonna crush it as hard as we can, see what we can do, and then walk on from there and be happy.
I love that it's not a one or the other. It's not a you I'm going to go all in or I'm going to be happy. It's both. They're
Oh
almost
yeah,
married together for you. That's awesome.
yeah. That's what life has to be. You can't just live one thing. It's all about homeostasis, as they say.
Final question that I got for you, and I'm going to leave
Uh,
it to everybody that hops on this podcast. If you were to disappear tomorrow and had one message get broadcasted across the world, what would it be?
mm, one message, I would say. Don't be afraid to be you. Like, just be you, whatever that looks like, as weird as that is, as quirky as that is. I mean, hopefully not hurting anybody, but whatever that looks like, just be you. Don't let society tell you, don't dress that way, don't think that way, don't believe that way, don't love that way, whatever. Just be you. Be unapologetically you. And that is my advice.
Very on brand for you. I love that authenticity.
Yeah.
That's why, like I said, that's how I started this discussion with you. Is one of the first things I think about you is just authenticity, and it's such a value that is becoming more and more rare in today's world, where there's just a world of copycats of people wanting to be like other people.
Yeah,
Authenticity.
unfortunately.
Well, where can the people find you? Obviously, I want to help out wherever I can, so I'll
Oh,
tag you
sure.
all below. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Sure. My Instagram is classic_Kiran. That's KLASSIC_KIRAN. And there's a lot of shenanigans in there, and obviously a lot of positive messages. You'll see some, head bang into dubstep, whatever. It's gonna be in there. Um, I also put out, motivational messages and some like training tips and so on and so forth. A lot of stuff will be on bodybuilding and posing sometimes too. And then my business page is on Instagram is body.mechanics. That's BODY.MECHANIX. And that's where I put a lot of my work with massage therapy, personal training, so on and so forth in there. I'm not really on Facebook because people get political and weird, so I'm not on there. And the website to book with me is www.yourbodytuneup.com. And if you got aches and pains or struggling to work through movement patterns, or you feel like you're super inflamed, or you're pre-op, post-op, whatever the case may be, book a session and we'll get you right.
Can personally recommend. Great service. 5 out of 5 stars. Would tell anybody about it.
Yeah, Google told me it's 5 out of 5 stars too. So,
It is. I tell you from personal experience.
I have the best stuff. Only the best stuff.
Only the best. The Trump bands. Well, Kiran, I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hop on here. I appreciate your insight, your knowledge.
Appreciate you.
And I'd love to have you back on one day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, week, and the rest of your year, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I'll be here for the next one.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.